Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time to smile. I'm your host, Jim Higgins, and welcome to the very first edition of the Midweek Smile in video. Midweek Smile, as you know, is or maybe you don't know, is a production that I've been doing since 2006, a print version and a internet version with everything Vegas. Every single Wednesday, we do updates, we do news, we do features, we do all kinds of cool things every Wednesday, focusing on fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, which has been my home here since 2006. And I got to tell you, it has been absolutely fabulous all the way through. Today, we're coming to you from the Mentor Empire Studios on the brand new Vegas podcast, which is going to be absolutely fabulous again, which is really cool. And this is going to be something that we'll be building on. It's a work in progress since it's the very first one. And it's going to be very interesting. We'll have news, we'll have updates, we'll have features. And the best thing we'll have is the other side of the story, as I say. We're going to have guests that represent all sorts of different attractions, shows, concerts, meetings, whatever is happening in Las Vegas. We'll have a guest here to talk about it, and they get to give their side of the story on how their attraction or their company works, and it's going to be awesome. Today's first edition of the Midweek Smile is being brought to you by Lake Mead Mohave Adventures, and we thank them very much here for providing the studio for us and sponsoring our first podcast. Our guest today, the Senior Director of Lake Mohave and Adventures, is Chad Taylor, someone I've known now for some time. And Chad, thanks so much for being with us on our very first Midweek Smile podcast on the Vegas podcast.
Very excited to be with you. Absolute pleasure.
So give us a shout out for Lake Mead Mohave. Obviously, it's more than just Lake Mead because there's all sorts of different adventures on the water and parks and campgrounds, things like that. But what started Lake Mead and how'd you get going?
Yeah, great question. So, hello, Las Vegas, on the Vegas podcast. First of all, thank you for allowing us to come on and be your first guest. Appreciate that. So I think this is probably really important for me and really important for your audience because there's quite a few people that don't know there's even a lake out here, much less two lakes.
Yeah.
Right? So Lake Mead Mohave Adventures is owned by Guest Services out of Fairfax, Virginia, a hospitality company that's been around for 106 years now.
Wow. That
started during the war by Ulysses S. Grant III.
Really?
To feed the soldiers during the war. So it was a food service company in its infancy when it started. So I tell that because the company's been around for a long time. Some people here in Las Vegas would probably remember it as Forever Resorts because it was that for almost a quarter of a century. Right? And Forever Resorts, Rex, family friend, Rex ended up passing away. The kids didn't want to take over the business for whatever reason. And Guest Services came in as a national park concession specialist and took over the 7 properties within the Lake Mead National Recreation Area, which is over 1.5 million acres of recreation area for local Las Vegans and everybody statewide or around us. So Lake Mead Mohave Adventures is this West Coast brand that encompasses those 7 properties. And it includes, and we can go through each of them, but it includes Cottonwood Cove Marina down out of Searchlight, Nevada, up to Willow Beach Marina, which is a favorite of Las Vegas. Then we go over to Temple Bar Marina, which is where the Colorado River basically enters Lake Mead. And then we come back to the Hoover Dam Raft Adventures, which goes out of the base of Hoover Dam. And then we have an RV park right outside of Boulder City on the edge, which is Boulder Beach RV. It's Lake Mead RV, but it's located at Boulder Beach. And then if you run across the lake, you go to Colville Bay, which is another popular spot for boaters, which is a full-service marina. And then up to Echo Bay, which is if you were heading to Overton or just past Colville Bay, you get to Echo Bay, which used to be a full-service marina owned by Seven Crowns, which is now more just RV camping and probably one of the best secret swim beaches around.
Wow, wonderful. And all of these, of course, feed off of Lake Mead, very important to the Las Vegas community and many others. Lake Mead right now, 1,070 feet, I think it is right now.
Just over 1,070.
Yeah, which is about, 20 to 30 feet over where we were last year in 23. How does the lake play into it? Obviously, the main source of everything you do.
Yeah, water,
Yeah.
right? Water's pretty important. So yeah, 1,070. We've gained almost 30 foot of water this year. And obviously a couple years going into a drought, there was a lot of negative press. It was extremely detrimental to the properties out at the lake a couple years ago when the lake was decreasing rapidly. Weather Channel even came out and did a story on it. So now that we're raising again and we're up almost 30 feet, and I believe this is going to be a very wet winter. We're already getting some snowpack and some storms coming through, and I'm just hoping we can gain another 30 feet.
So when the lake is this high, you basically are like a kid in a candy store. So all your programs are working, right? Is there a difference between whether the lake is low and the lake is high because some of the adventures you provide?
Yeah, I think that's something that no matter what, always Lake Mead will be there. Yeah. I think that's something I want to make sure people understand is dead pull for Lake Mead is 850 feet above sea level. The base of the dam is at, I believe, 600 or 650 feet above sea level. So even if the dam could no longer pass water through it, you would still be left with about 200 plus feet of water in Lake Mead. And if you've ever lived on a river or any other place, or go to Parker, Arizona, go somewhere, we have a lot more water than most. And even at its lowest point, we'd have a lot more water than most still.
Right. Yeah.
So, yes, everything is happy sunshine and rainbows when it comes to Lake Mead for me and Lake Mohave, which we have some amazing news that came out today, which hopefully we'll get to talk about a little bit because I think it's a special treat for Las Vegas specifically. Yeah. But yeah, everything when the lake level is decreasing and the water gets lower, there are just more hiking activities. There's more beaches, more sand, more places to scout. And you just have a lot more recreation area on the water. And believe it or not, when you're sitting on the water, you don't notice.
Yeah, really? How do you not notice? I mean,
Well, you can see the tan line.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I... Probably can't say
bathtub rings.
If I put a life jacket on you and throw you out of the boat in the middle of the lake,
yeah.
I promise you won't think there's not enough water.
Right. Yeah. Even
it's a big lake.
Even if you look at the bathtub ring,
even if you look at the bathtub ring, when you sit in the middle of that lake, it's vast.
And for the folks that don't know the bathtub ring, that is that white caulk area where the lake used to be when it was absolutely full, and where it is now. So when if you ever take a bus out there, your car, and you look around, you see that white line. That is called the bathtub ring because that is where the lake used to be to where the lake is now. As a tour guide, I know all that stuff from the Hoover Dam tours and stuff that we give. But also too, you said there are two lakes. Everybody knows about Lake Mead, but what is Lake Mohave?
The secret hideaway that California knows about it, but Las Vegas forgets about it because Lake Mead's such an easy access. Yeah. But Lake Mohave to me is kind of a home away from home. I lived there when I was about 16, 17 years old. I worked on the marinas there and became very close to my heart. So Cottonwood Cove out of Searchlight. Biggest thing is it's far away. It's not. It's like a Mount Charleston drive, right? Yeah. It's probably 50 outside of Henderson. It's 45 minutes to the turnoff and 15 minutes down the hill. So it's an hour away. Whereas Colville and Boulder Harbor and Lake Mead Marina, these are a half an hour away. This is probably an hour away. So
you have Lake Mead, and then you have Lake Mohave. Now, what feeds Lake Mohave? Is that Lake Mead?
Yes, Hoover Dam.
Really?
Yeah. So Colorado River comes out of the Grand Canyon, enters into Lake Mead, and Lake Mead hits Hoover Dam. Hoover Dam then trickles down into what is known as the Black Canyon, which is also a National River Water Trail. I believe it's certified, if that's the right word, or registered as a water trail. It flows into the Black Canyon. That river is heavy for kayaking, canoes, camping. It's a beautiful scenery. I call it the end of the Grand Canyon because it's the last canyon you get to see before it just becomes open desert again. Yeah. So as that flows down past what I like to call Kehoe's Cave, it starts to warm up, number one, and it starts to widen right around Nelson's Landing, I'd say. And a lot of people are familiar with Nelson's Landing. It widens at Nelson's Landing, and I guess where you would determine that the Colorado River stops flowing, that would essentially become what you would call Lake Mohave because the river stopped flowing because it's wide enough.
Right.
And the flow would be at the bottom of the.
And how deep is Lake Mohave?
You're going to get me on that one. That's a great question. I know exactly. Mead. I feel I think in the lower basin, I want to say we're still a couple 100 feet. I'll have to get the exacts for you. I can't believe I don't know that. I'm in trouble.
No, that's okay. But it's great because a lot of people don't know about Lake Mohave. And this is the type of thing that in this sort of setting you can actually center on because, you get to bring out facts that your side of the story will bring that we don't know about.
Right.
And that's the whole point of doing these podcasts so that people can really dive into different information that they want to know about.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to stand on top of a rooftop here in Las Vegas, and maybe that's this channel for you, and say, listen, Las Vegas, there's 3 million people here. I would say 50% of them, maybe even 60% of them, don't know that there's 2 lakes out there, and they don't know the properties and the recreation activities for them and their families.
Right.
And I find that tragic.
Yeah.
Because for me, nature heals, and getting outdoors heals.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's marketing director and it's my business to get people out there, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it.
Yeah, I remember growing up in Wisconsin, we were fishing and hunting and snowmobiling and doing all sorts of stuff. We were constantly outside,
Yeah.
And so back then it was, you're playing outside till the street lights came on and then mom's calling you home for dinner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
But we're in what I'd like to call a nature deficit disorder.
Yeah. Very, very nicely put. All the different activities that you're talking about that Lake Mead Mohave Adventures provides. What are some of the biggest ones or like the most popular one?
Yeah. So you know what? Let's have some fun since it is. What is the date today? I think
it's going to be the 18th.
The 18th. Okay. So we just had a press release today. Actually, I got it right here. But we released a press release today that we're announcing a $10 million renovation plan, and it's actually going to be a bit more than that. But for almost the last 20, 25 years, Cottonwood Cove, just out of Searchlight, Nevada, which is where Harry Reid is from, correct? He's from Searchlight. He's got some great stories as well. Yeah. That marina has been like on a year-to-year agreement with the National Park Service. So it's been very challenging to invest in it. And constantly, year after year, we have to keep it up as best we can and keep moving. But from like a business standpoint, you can't put a lot of money into something you don't know if you're going to have the next year or not.
Okay.
So people who have been upset that someone hasn't done something with that property or brought it back up to speed, we've done the best we can with what we have. It's now been announced as of January 1st. We have a 25-year lease with the National Park Service for this property.
Wonderful.
And all that says is go time, right? Yeah. So it takes every idea that anybody has had. Our leadership, Lisa Duncan, who is the director here now locally, and Rod Taylor and Barry Trice, our leadership has been working on what could Cottonwood Cove be that everybody's always dreamed of. So we've taken guest feedback from 20 years, 25 years, and said, let's make it that. So when I say it's a $10 million, it'll be upwards of a $10 million investment into bringing Cottonwood Cove into the late 21st century. Is that what we say? Right? Yeah. So Cottonwood Cove specifically would probably be the full service marina. So anything you would want from a property for a day trip, if you're traveling from out of state, when you roll into Cottonwood Cove, you have the ranger and the welcome station. Just to the left as you pull in, you have dry storage, mechanic shops, and places to store your boats through the winter if you'd like. As you go down the hill to the right-hand side, you have a trailer village, which has been grandfathered in for a long time. The trailer village are what are called summer homes, and there's a wait list for it. You can own your trailer, but you pay rental space for it. This year, surprisingly, with this new announcement, some of those may go up for sale because it's been announced that all of those have to be removed from federal lands by a certain year.
Really?
Yes.
When did this come about?
Today.
Just today?
Well, no, sorry. We released a press release today.
Yeah.
So let me get the date for you. I'm going to put this in the picture. I just want to make sure I don't misquote this. But let's see here. RV park, motel, dry storage, or campground. I can't believe I forgot. There it is right there. All right, trailer village, 2043.
Okay.
So by 2043, part of this new lease was that the trailers had to go. And essentially I understand why. You have personal property on federal land.
Right.
And there's some issues with that.
Liability alone.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we understand as a whole why it works, but people who've had summer homes there for the last 50 years, right, it's going to cause a little bit of contention for the most part, but I think that everybody will come around and get it. But there are the summer homes. So this year, they have a choice of selling those this year or keeping them. But they only have a year. So this first year, they get to sell them or keep them. If they don't sell them or keep them this year, no more exchanges happen after that, meaning you're in it until you remove it or stay out the term.
And it has to be done by 2043.
They have to be out by 2043.
Yeah.
But if you want to change ownership or anything change with it, it's this year only.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that we're going to see some rotation down there. Potentially, there's a wait list. You got to get on with the property, contact the general manager. But there may be some summer homes available, or maybe nobody sells. Maybe everybody's so excited that they stay and they want to ride out the new build with us.
Yeah. Well, that's 20 years.
Yeah. So it's a while.
Yeah.
So there's the trailer village there, which is a lot of amazing people that kind of bring the temperature, the vibe, and the culture of that property kind of come from the trailer village. A lot of great folks up there. They have like a HOA, and they're just a good group of people. They're going to be very excited because we're redeveloping the entire RV park. So just at the end of Trailer Village is an RV park. We're going to completely redevelop it. It's going to become something closer to like Willow Beaches. Yeah. And Willow Beach is one of the most sought after campgrounds here in Southern Nevada. So that'll be redone. We'll be putting in electric charging. We'll be putting in a lot of shade structures. We're going to be redoing the motel. So we have a
There's a motel out there.
Yeah, so we have a 24-room motel. So people don't realize this.
Really?
You can jump in your car, drive an hour, rent a motel in the wintertime. I want to say $160 to maybe a couple $100 a night. Don't quote me exact. Yeah. But you can rent a motel on the beach on Lake Mohave. I mean, when I say on the beach, I'll have to show a picture of it. 45 hour away.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's the motel.
Yeah.
There's a full store.
Right.
So retail merchandises, grab and go, you name it. We have a full store. Next to the store, we have a cafe that will be also being completely redeveloped. So we're going to turn it into, I believe we're going to call it a pub.
Okay.
So it's going to be turned into a pub. So everything that there's going to get enhanced.
So you have alcohol and...
Yes.
Yes.
So we have alcohol there now.
Is this 21 plus environment?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the lake. Always lake with safety and precaution and boats. Yes. but yeah, we sell in the store. We sell everything. It'd be like any grocery store when I say grocery store, not produce, convenience store, any convenience store you'd go into, we have everything.
What is your target? Are you targeting families? Are you targeting 21 up? What are you doing?
Is that a personal question or a business question?
Both. I won't let you get off that easy.
Yeah. So personally, families all day, every day. Yeah. Bring the youngsters out, get them to the lake. I've had my kids at the lakes, and it's cost effective. Yeah. Get in a car, drive down there, $20-$30 in gas, spend the day down there. There's a fee to get into the park. It's $25, I believe, for a vehicle to get into the park. But you can buy a season pass for the whole year for $80. And then take a car. Yes, and then take a car full of people in and out of every park we have out here in this 1.5 million acres.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So for $80, get your family outside all summer long.
That's pretty cool.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And I mentioned the 21 plus because we're in Vegas.
Yes.
And people like to party out here. Right. Is that where the houseboats are?
It is. So in front of the restaurant and the store, we have a full marina.
Right.
So we have moorage for private boats, which we're building another 75 slips or so that'll be covered out there. As well as our houseboat rentals. We have 24 houseboats at that property, and we also have 24 houseboats up at Colville Bay Marina as well. And
I have friends that have their own boats.
Okay.
They come out and they launch their boats from whichever marina.
Yes.
And they cruise around in Lake Mead all day or at night, having their fun. How do you control that sort of thing? Is that part of the $80 or is that something separate?
No. So your entry to the park, you're going to pay for your vehicle and you're going to pay for your boat. So if the boat was $10 or $15, but you can buy annuals for both of those.
Right.
So I think probably $100 or less, you can get an annual pass for your boat and your vehicle. Can't quote me on that. We'll have to check the National Park Service website, but it's right around there.
So is this a year-round or what's the season?
That's great. So for Cottonwood Cove, I would call it a year-round property because of its beauty. Yeah. Because of its location, because of its beauty, because of the motel, because of the RV park. And this year, with the new a lease that we've secured, there's actually a 45-space campground that used to be managed by the National Park Service that we've recently taken over. So we are going to be upgrading and updating that area.
Okay. So you're actually working hand in hand with the Park Service. Are you like their vendor, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So we, as guest services, we are a concession specialist.
Okay.
So we specialize in management of hospitality companies, outdoor recreation, food service, some of the larger names back in D.C. and Virginia. So I think I know currently We're launching a new brand called Adventures Unbound, which we have. We have 45 properties in 11 different states and 7 regions.
Wow.
And that's called Explore Adventures Unbound, which basically takes our portfolio of outdoor recreation properties and puts them kind of under one umbrella.
Well, goodness, that's tremendous. I mean, and what is the Vegas area called? Is there a specific name?
Yes.
Do we have a region or?
Yes. Can you guess it? Call it the dry or the desert or the mountains. No, you're going to have to go look it up.
Okay, cool. But it's the Las Vegas.
Explore Adventures Unbound.
Explore Adventures Unbound.
.com.
In the Las Vegas region.
Well, just explore it. Once you get to the website, you'll see everything that's there.
Okay.
We have properties all the way up into Washington. Some of our most beautiful properties are Higgins, Mount Rainier. We have stuff on the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
which, thinking of, if you're talking about that one, does one pass do it all? Like the players cards in town, where you can go to any property. Do you have a pass where you can go to any property in Nevada, Washington, Montana, wherever?
I am taking feedback on that right now. You tell the guests to tell me what they'd like, and I would love nothing more than to take Las Vegas in the heat of the summer and get people and send them to the most beautiful properties outside of the heat in at least those month of late July and August.
Yeah, you know that's going to come up. I mean, the National Park Service has their one size fits all card where you go to any national park across the country. So I thought it would be a natural question to say, do you have the same?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Okay.
Not currently.
Not currently, but coming
Not
soon.
currently, but coming soon. Yeah.
Once you get everything developed out here at Lake Mohave, then you'll you'll know the landscape and how to proceed. Yeah.
And again, like I said, taking feedback. Right now we're putting it out there. The brand just launched as of January 1st. So Adventures Unbound launched. And then, like I said, the portfolio of companies and brands. I guess the real beauty of it is Cottonwood Cove being one of those first new, exciting 25-year lease, new brand, outdoor adventures, marina, boats, motels, recreation, food and beverage, bar, pub, camping, tent, hiking, fishing. You can't really get anything else. Cottonwood Cove is not, Cottonwood Cove I know is number one for the amount of amenities that we have on property.
So is that your main selling point, the amenities of what is there, or what would be the is
something
that what
for something for everybody.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, you want to come down and just spend a day. We're actually going to have the other side of the hill. So there's a hillside there, kind of a cove we're in. We're actually building out cabanas on the other side.
Really?
So that if you want to come down and you can't afford to rent a boat, or you don't know what's going on, we'll have the ability for you to access the water and the beaches, and we're going to clean up the tamarack.
Yeah.
So there's a plant that is not an, let's just say it's an aggressive plant that has been overgrowing the beaches down there.
What's the name of the
plant? Tamaris.
Was it?
Tamaris.
Tamaris? What is tamaris?
It's I don't know how I would explain it properly. It's like a weed that grows at the edge of the lake.
Okay.
And it drinks something like 2.5 times its weight every day in water.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hefty plant.
Yeah, it's a hefty plant. So
and you're getting rid of all of this tamaris.
Yeah, in these beach areas near the property, so that there's a lot more area for people to enjoy.
Which gathers the point. Is there anything out there protected that you can't get rid of?
Yes.
For horticulture and things like that.
But you won't have to worry about that because we'll make sure that you're not in those areas.
Yeah. Okay.
So the most part, if you can access it, it's for you.
Yeah. So you're not going to run into a plant that's you can't actually pick up or do something with.
Right. Yeah. They've through those contract negotiations and the lease negotiations, everybody's pretty much had their hands on it, and everything's safe. Because
if it's federal land, there are different places you can't go, things you can do, things you can't do, things so you're following all those rules, obviously, and the cabanas just piqued my interest. I mean, when you think about cabanas, you think about pools here in Vegas and Steve Aoki and everything else rocking with them.
Maybe if Steve Aoki watches this, he's probably on your newsletter, but maybe if he watches this, he can come out and do a DJ set from one of our cabanas.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, lending that 21 plus feel of Las Vegas to Lake Mohave.
Yeah, listen, I've been in Vegas for 25 years plus now.
Yeah.
I got to work, close to Tony Shea down with the downtown project and all those pieces. Yeah. And I've seen the city and I understand the partying and And I look at what I do out at the lake and the recreation and the family environment, and I look at the the parties that happen out there as well. And there's a balance to what the National Park Service would like or allow, and there's good reason for it. And as someone who grew up in the party scene in Las Vegas, I get it. We like to go out to the lake and party. But there are dangers at the lake, right? There's the life jackets and the drowning. Like you have to be careful. So the bigger the partying gets to the lake, I always tell people, take responsible partying to the lake. Don't take your crazy party to the lake.
And that's why I asked, because, you know what's going to come up.
Yeah.
You know what people are going to ask. So for you to say, okay, this is what we're going to do to contain or just basically keep it calm or whatever the situation may be, it will let people know basically, hey, this is how you proceed.
Right.
So that's where I was going with that question.
Got
Not that I don't like families or anything. I love them. I have 6 kids of my own.
Right.
So I mean, not that I'm the big brother. So there you go. But it's a very unique atmosphere out there that a lot of people don't want to see unspoiled. And at the same time, you're gonna make a lot of money with this.
Yeah, great revenue generator, great property, great opportunity. Everything's lined up. The Park Service's interest, U.S. Forest Service, National Park Service, our interest, BLM's interest. Like everything lines up and everybody works together very well. And everybody should be very respectful of your lands.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how the National Park Service worked.
Right.
They were very protective, and it seemed like you couldn't do anything. You can't ride your razors anywhere. I love razors, and it's like don't disrupt the crust. And I went in there kind of like a rock in a china shop 6 years ago. I'd never worked in that environment,
Right.
And I pushed on a lot of things. And what I found over time is that there's reasons they do what they do.
Yeah. Is it all going to be policed by the park rangers?
It's 100%. Policed by the National Park Service and the rangers.
Yeah.
And they have a great group of rangers out there. And I would say be respectful. Their job is big, 1.5 million acres that they have to manage. And they just want you to be safe. Right? They just want you to be safe. I watch some of the effects this has on some of the rangers when there's an accident or something happens out there. And it truly affects them as a human.
Right.
And I feel for them because they have to respond sometimes to things that aren't good. And that's troublesome for them. So that's why I say safe boating. Take your safe party out there. Have a good time. Yeah. Have a sober driver. Wear your life jacket.
We always say, and when we're talking hiking especially, don't go on intermediate trails if you're a beginner.
Right.
Don't go. Make sure you take plenty of water. Make sure you have a compass. Make sure you have something with you to make sure you know where you are on the trails, the park, whatever else. And we get the question a lot, quite a bit.
Right.
Because in all the people I talk to in my business, the hiking and outdoors and things that comes up quite often. So I was really looking forward to talking with you about this because this is your chance to actually speak to this, and you're the expert. So that's the great way to do it.
I don't know about the expert, but I tell you what, I love what I do.
Yeah. So I remember being, if we can just kind of switch gears a minute, I remember being, we took a bunch of meeting planners and down the river, and we went on the rafting. We went from Hacienda, the old Hacienda, which is Hoover Dam Lodge now, all the way down to Willow Beach. Right. And that was quite the adventure. And what is I get this every once in a while, what is the season for that? What is comfortable on your rafting, and how does that play into what you want to accomplish on the river?
I appreciate the question. So let's talk about the Black Canyon and Hoover Dam rafting adventures.
Yes.
Which most people would remember it as Black Canyon River Adventures.
Yes. I think that's what it was when we did it. Yeah.
Correct. We changed the name specifically for algorithmic search.
Really?
Right. So the number one most visited place here is the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. The number 2 is Hoover Dam.
Wow. Okay.
Number 2. So
they have like 5 million people a year that go through Hoover Dam.
Correct.
Yeah.
So 1 is Grand Canyon, 2 is Hoover Dam, and then it falls to the rest. Mm-hmm. So we changed the name to Hoover Dam Rafting Adventures. It's a long one. It's a mouthful. However, what it did for us online was gave us a lot more reach, but we lost a lot of the people that remembered it as the Black Canyon River Adventures. Yeah. So maybe you can help with that. So a lot of the people that work here in Vegas or have been in Vegas, it has been renamed Hoover Dam Rafting Adventures. It's the same tour. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Wow.
So 40 years in business.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We still have a few raft pilots that have been down there 30 years plus.
Wow.
Kathleen being one of them. She's amazing. She does all of our training, narration, tour guides, safety, man overboards, all these types of trainings to keep it safe. So 40 years, been in business down there. Dollar for dollar, Hoover Dam Rafting Adventures is one of the most beautiful tours that you can take. And it is a fully guided, narrated, smooth water raft tour.
I loved it. And we learned about how they climbed along the walls to check the water levels. And we went to the hot spring, and we went all these different places that I was like just totally blown away. And I'm a city kid out on the water, and I'm like, wow. And the wow factor out there really impressed everybody that we had on the raft. And then we had lunch down at Willow Beach waiting for us when we got there, and then they bussed us back to Las Vegas. Is that sort of the same thing you're doing now?
Absolutely, 100%. Everything we did before and more. The world's changed, right? I think that there's 3 levels to our business. One, we put a lot of kids on the river. So in the springtime, we do a lot of field trips, put a lot of kids on the river, which is extremely enjoyable, and that's in May.
Right.
I would say the charter business. Any groups coming into town want to do something for their group that's kind of outside the normal and that's safe. It's on the water, but it's a smooth water trip. There's no white water.
No.
Has lunch involved and transportation to and from.
Yeah.
I think that charter business is very solid for us, and we enjoy that. And then there's just the general public and the tourists that come in from all over. We have a lot of people come from Mexico and Canada. This last year, I actually saw a lot of India was high on my chart. It was awesome.
Yeah. Who is your ideal customer?
Again, are you asking me personal or business? Because you watch who's coming, which would tell you the business answer to it, right? But personally, this is something that's 100% for every age. And I think that's something that's fantastic is if you have a lap child, you're not going to pay for that lap child.
Right.
Grab your child and bring them if you brought your child to Vegas. But you have a lap child, you can take them. They're free. Age groups, who I see enjoying it, I see 10 to 15-year-old kids love it.
Yeah.
It's a first time. They have never seen it before. They're on the water. They're in a canyon. All of those elements that they don't get to see in the city.
Right.
I see the parents, 35 to 45 years old, new parents, young kids that are the parents of those. I see them enjoying the heck out of it. And then I see, believe it or not, I'm going to give you 2 statistics. I see the car enthusiast. Don't ask me why, but this is a trend I've watched for years.
Car enthusiast.
Car enthusiast.
You mean like the hot rod people?
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's a generational thing.
Huh. Okay.
So then there's an age group, I would say the 55 plus age, the community. This is something we put down the river. We take a lot of the living homes. What are they called? Care facilities. How would you categorize that?
Yeah. The mature adults with
mature adults. Yeah. Okay, so like the mature adult facilities, we put quite a few of them. We find people within those
assisted living
facilities organizing tours for everybody else inside of the facility.
Yeah, the activities directors do all the time.
Yes,
yeah.
So there'll be 30 or 40 or 50 people come out. So we have rafts that can take up to 50 people on one raft.
Wow.
So we have a small raft that seats 12, and we have a big raft that seats 50. We have 11 rafts total. We can put 600 people down the river in a day. And if you really want to get crazy, we could probably double up, run 2 tours, and put 1,200 people down the river in a day.
Holy mackerel.
That would be hard, but we could try.
And of course, everybody's going to say, what is the average cost? Is this affordable?
Super affordable. So like the most affordable is the lap child. Yeah, they're free. Yeah. Next, $69. I think $55, $69 for a youth and for an adult.
Right.
Would be your most cost effective. That'll get you down on the river. Drive yourself out there. Get you down on the river for an hour and a half on the water.
Okay.
Can't beat it.
And then you also have, now that's the actual from point A to, do they still leave from the Hoover Dam Lodge there?
Yeah, so we moved out of the Hoover Dam Lodge because that was actually purchased by Dottie's.
Yeah.
Right? So we moved out of there. We're at the Lake Mead RV Village down the street now. So there's 2 tours that we offer. Just so you know, there's the postcard tour, which gets you on the river for an hour and a half quickly. Yeah. Yep. And then there's the full regular, what we call the regular run. Right? It's the beauty of the whole thing. And now that I just said the regular run out loud and was thinking about saying it, and Kathleen told me she wants to change the name, I think she's right. Kathleen, publicly, you're correct. We're changing the name. Because she's like, regular run just doesn't sound good in marketing, Chad.
No.
It's like, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And how long does it take to go from from Dottie's all the way down to Willow Beach?
So the on-water tour is 3 hours in total.
Okay.
So from the moment you set down, it's 3 hours. So the beautiful thing is that if you're a tourist, you can grab a vehicle and get out there, or we'll come pick you up and get you out there.
Right.
If you're a local, drive your car out there. Either way, we can get you on the raft. Once you get out there, you can choose an hour and a half on the water or 3 hours on the water all the way down to Willow Beach. And when you get to Willow Beach, we will put you in a vehicle and bring you back up to your vehicle.
Now, is this transportation that you provide from
Correct.
Las Vegas to the starting point? Is there a cost for that?
Correct. So the most expensive tour you can buy from us with transportation from a hotel room, lunch included, you name it, is $209.
That's it?
Yes.
That's not bad, actually.
Mic check.
Yeah.
$209. Yes.
Hopefully you didn't misquote. There you go.
No, that's good.
Yeah, because these are the questions that everybody asks, so
Yeah.
we're getting them out of the table. But I think too, the other thing that's fun about these rafting trips is you get the experience of being with all these folks in a very unique setting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and I love the fact that you're bringing seniors,
Yeah.
that from the activities, from the assisted livings and things like that. Because my gosh, when was the last time they got out to be on a raft?
Yeah. And when I say you feel like you're sitting in the middle of nowhere, that little short tour, we take you just far enough around Boy Scout Canyon, get you around the corner where you feel like you are in the middle of nowhere.
Is that the postcard?
Mm-hmm.
I remember I did that, and you also went up towards. There's that blue area at the base of the dam where you can't go anywhere past the little pylons that are out there.
Right. Restricted rope
So
access.
how close to the dam do you get?
We pull right up to the ropes.
Yeah, and that is how many feet off or something?
I'd say you're a football field from the actual dam.
So you're about 100 yards from Hoover Dam itself,
Yeah.
looking up at the dam.
Yeah.
I recall looking up at the dam. It was quite the sight.
Yeah, I don't watch sports or understand sports, so
Yeah.
100 yards to me could be anything, but it appears.
Well, except in Canada, they're a little bit bigger. But
Okay.
yeah, as you know, I'm a sports
Yeah.
junkie. So yeah, I was a sports director for a long, long time. So I love that kind of thing. But what else, as we kind of wrap up here,
Yeah.
what else would you like to talk about as far as Lake Mead Mohave Adventures and what you provide, or your main purpose for being in business, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so our main purpose for being in business, number one, is to serve the guest, right? And it's in my title, guest experience, right? Number one, we're here to serve the guest. Number two, we're here to serve the parks needs. And the parks needs is to make sure these federal lands are managed properly and that the guest is being served.
Yeah.
So we get it from both sides, right? It is our job. These are your federal and your lands. We're just there to help facilitate, right? And provide all of the ancillary stuff that you need with inside of the park.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I think the most important for me is like, to go to the website, go to lakemeadmohaveadventures.com. Look at the 7 properties that we have. Take a day and go out camping. Go up to Echo Bay, just past Colville Bay. Best swimming beaches around. So you can't swim inside the harbor at Colville Bay Marina, but you drive 30 minutes more and there's tons of beaches at Echo Bay. There's no marina anymore.
Yeah.
So you can swim.
Well, there you go.
A lot of beach. Yeah.
Swimming, hiking, boating. Do they fish?
Yeah, fishing everywhere. The fishing is great. There's a lot
What
of
do we
work.
catch? What kind of fish?
Striper. So striper and bass.
Really?
So the striper like to eat everything, including the largemouth bass and the trout. We stock trout at Willow Beach.
Okay.
They stock it at Friday. The fish hatchery. If your kids have never seen 30,000 fish in buckets, take them down to the hatchery at Willow Beach.
Okay.
There's a fish hatchery. Drive them down there. It's a beautiful sight.
So the National Park Service actually stocks the lakes, or is that
I
fishing?
feel like
game?
it's fishing game. Yeah,
Wildlife.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's a
fishing
state agency.
Yeah.
They're at the hatchery and they stock it. So you have Cottonwood Cove, which is just an absolute must-go see, right? We open up for the spring. So in March, late February, March, we'll start. Everything will be available. In the wintertime, we close down some of the hours. December and January, the facility's not closed, but some of the amenities are closed. We close the grill down and stuff because there just isn't enough traffic there. But that'll start opening up. And as it does, get down to Cottonwood Cove. Just drive out there for the day. We have fuel. Anything you need, you get out there. You're not going to be stranded. You're going to check it out. We'll have I'm putting up some boards down there of like what's going to be happening in the new build. And this will be a long-term project, so it's not going to be fast. But get down to Cottonwood Cove and check it out. And we have the houseboat rentals down there, which are called the houseboat hotels.
Okay.
This is the big one.
Yeah.
The houseboat hotels are $350 for the night. And then the next day you get a half-day free small boat rental. So think about that. I'm going to go get a hotel room for $350 on the water. The next morning I'm going to wake up and take a boat out on the lake for 4 hours.
Right.
That's Cottonwood Cove. So check that out. Check Willow Beach out, which is on the Arizona side. Go take your family on a Hoover Dam raft tour. And if you're any one of the properties here in Las Vegas and you want to do some combo tours or get some of your high rollers out or do group tours or anything, get a hold of us. We have a great team. Boulder Beach RV, if you got an RV, come out and go camping. It's a pretty popular area. Willow Beach is by far one of the most popular. Tons of small boats, canoes, and kayaks.
Nice.
Absolutely. Temple Bar is the secret. They actually have a bar out there and a restaurant and motel rooms as well. So that's our other motel property.
Yeah.
And if you want a secret, drive out to Temple Bar for the day. Check it out. You will thank me later.
Okay, cool.
Okay, hour and a half. And then Colville Bay is pretty popular. It's marina with the houseboats. Full services there also. And then Echo Bay, like I said, the secret swim beaches.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. And you are the inaugural sponsor of the Midweek Smile podcast on Vegas podcast, which is awesome. So I want to thank you so much for coming by and taking care of us today. If you want to be out here on the Midweek Smile with us as we start our journey, basically, and start diving into everything Las Vegas and beyond, because that is our saying here at JS Travel Consultants, everything Vegas and beyond. I would love to have you on. Contact me, please, Higgins at JSTravelConsultants.com, JSTravelConsultant.com, or my phone number, 702-539-7834, is in every single Midweek Smile from here to ever. So just give me a ring. We'd love to have you on, and so that you can tell your side of the story here on the Midweek Smile podcast with the Vegas podcast. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.